Chemical water pollution by Tejas Bamra. Water. Water is the most important natural resource and is crucial for the survival of all living organisms. The environment, economic growth and development, and lifestyle are all highly influenced by water. Water can be affected by many things such as chemical water pollution. What is chemical water pollution? Chemical water pollution is a contamination of water bodies using chemicals and toxins. Chemicals are released into our water and disrupt our ecosystems, threaten our health, pollute the water we drink, and contaminate our food. The water is polluted by chemicals when different chemicals run off into the water from many sources and pollute it. This form of environmental pollution occurs when pollutants come in contact with water bodies without the right treatment to remove these harmful toxins. There are many different sources of chemical water pollution. Industrial and agriculture work involves chemicals that can run off into the water and pollute it. Metals and cleaning chemicals from industrial work can pollute rivers and lakes. Pesticides are used in farming to control weeds and insects, which can soak into the soil and eventually run off into the bodies of water. An example of this was in the May of 2000 when the Walkerton tragedy occurred in Ontario. The water in Walkerton was contaminated by E. coli, a harmful bacteria, which was caused by runoff chemicals from a farm which leaked into the well and affected all the water. Once people started drinking this water, thousands of them got sick and 7 people died. Farmers and factory workers contribute the most to chemical water pollution because they do not realize that the chemicals they use can harm. They need to be more careful with what they do and make sure they try to prevent the chemicals and pesticides from reaching the water. Besides farmers and factory workers, citizens are also polluting the water with chemicals even though they don't realize it. When you dump chemicals down the drain, dump paint down the sewers, or even flush chemicals down the toilet, this is all polluting our water since all of this water ends up in lakes. People pollute the water with the toxins when they wash their car on the driveway or sprinkle salt on their sidewalks. All of these chemicals end up in the sewer and contaminate our lakes. In 2012, more than 206 million pounds of toxic chemicals were dumped into the water. Many companies are the cause of this chemical water pollution because they are dumping too much toxic waste into the water. For example, in 2012, Tyson Foods Inc. alone dumped about 18.5 million pounds of waste into the water. Industrial facilities released more than 1.4 million pounds of chemicals into bodies of water that were linked to cancer. 4 of the main companies contributing to chemical water pollution are agribusinesses, which are basically companies that work with technology and agriculture. These 4 companies are Tyson, Cargill Inc., Purdue Farms Inc., and Pilgrim's Pride Corp. All 4 of these companies produce food and work with agriculture, in which they consume a lot of chemicals, and some of the waste chemicals are intentionally dumped into water, which increase our problem of chemical water pollution. The issue with this is that too many companies are dumping chemicals into the water, which contaminates Canada's water. According to UNICEF, more than 3,000 children die every day all over the world due to consumption of contaminated drinking water. Chemicals that are dumped into the water by companies and regular people can be very dangerous and harmful towards us and can even cause cancer. Sewage water that is treated in water treatment plants goes straight into the bodies of water. Even though this water is treated, it doesn't necessarily get everything out. If chemicals are in this water, they can get saturated into the water, which makes them very hard to filter out. Also, the chemicals can give diseases to fish and other animals, and if we eat this fish, the diseases can be spread to us. Chemical water pollution doesn't only affect us directly. However, if chemicals are discharged into the water, they can build up algae in the oceans and lakes, which can lower our oxygen levels. Chemicals are very hard to filter from the water, which limits our source of drinking water, since wastewater facilities have to put more work and money into completely getting the chemicals out, since they get mixed into the water. The water that is sent back to the lakes here in Ontario is sent back to Lake Ontario, which is one of our biggest sources of fresh water. If this lake gets polluted from chemicals, this can cause a reduction in our fresh water, which can lead to further problems in the future. If the chemicals don't get filtered out of the water, people can drink contaminated water, and it can be injurious. Chemical water pollution can cause things such as E. coli to form in the water, which can harm people and even cause death. Swimming in and drinking contaminated water can cause skin rashes and health problems like cancer, reproductive problems, and typhoid fever, and stomach sickness to humans. Waterborne diseases from chemicals in the water account for deaths of 3,575,000 people a year. This is why it's very important to make sure that your water is clean and safe to drink. Chemical water pollution can be a huge problem. However, we could try to prevent this problem ourselves and make more people aware about it. An example of this is called Yellowfish Road. The Yellowfish Road program is a program which encourages teens to go outside with their friends to paint yellowfishes near sewers on the ground to remind people that chemicals and toxins can be hazardous to wildlife. Another way to prevent this problem at home is to make sure that you're not flushing chemicals down the toilet, dumping chemicals down the drain, and throwing toxins in the sewers. These little changes can have a huge impact. Chemical water pollution does affect Canada and everyone else who uses water. People need to understand the seriousness behind chemical water pollution and the problems it can cause if this issue is ignored. I hope you learned about what this issue is, and thank you for watching.